Greetings everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Private Will, and we are back for the final day of the Battle of Gettysburg on July 3rd, 1863. Now yesterday was not a good day for the Union, mostly because of my horrible dice rolling, which was typical of me. That's how I always pretty much get very unlucky on my die rolls. So the Union got pushed back. Now, before we enter this final day of the battle, I just want to let you know what did happen in the real battle. Well, the Union was sort of set up in this fashion here, along the ridge, Cemetery Hill, and doing a hook here, like I said yesterday, like sort of a fish hook. So both flanks had been attacked by the Confederacy on July 2nd, and so July 3rd, Robert E. Lee decided to attack the center, believing that this was going to be the final push that was needed to defeat them after attacking them on both flanks. As it turned out, it was not exactly gonna go the way he planned. It became known as what's now we call Pickett's Charge, and it was a disaster. There's a lot of people who argued over the years now that if General Jackson, Stonewall Jackson, had been at Gettysburg and had not been killed at Chancellorsville back in May, he would probably have convinced Lee not to do this. I kind of always doubted that. Longstreet tried for most of the day to discourage him from doing this attack. He said it was a bad idea. It was not going to be possible for the amount of men they were going to throw in there to actually push the Union Army out of the center. And I mean, considering Lee's respect for Longstreet, he used to call him his whole war horse. I don't think that Jackson would have been able to convince Lee not to do this. A major problem for Lee at this point is there was two things. He was getting tired of the war, and he wanted it to end. He could see Americans dying on both sides, and he wanted this to be finished as quickly as possible. And he also believed that by this time, in July of 1863, he could ask his men to do anything and they would do it. And to be frank, they had been pulling off miracle after miracle for a year and a half almost, always beating the odds, always defeating the Union Army. So it's quite possible that he believed that they could really do this, you know. But, I mean, this was just too much. They were pushed back very badly. It was a resounding defeat. The division of Pickett, who actually led the charge along with a few other elements, was pretty much wiped out of just along this side of the battlefield here, all the way back to the woods over here. So at that point, the Battle of Gettysburg was over. Well, there would be a fourth day. There would still be the 4th of July, but that's something we'll talk about tomorrow. So what I did now for this battle, things are not looking good. The victory point stands at 8 for the Union. They're holding on to Little Round Top, which is 5 points, and they still have this particular victory point here, which is 3 points. So that gives them 8. The Confederacy's got 7, so they got Culp's Hill, which is 3 points, and they hold all of these victory points here, which give them 7. So, so at this point, as soon as they captured either one of these, it's pretty much over. There's not enough for the Union to be able to mount any kind of attack at this point to push them back. So the Union will definitely stay on the defensive as much as possible, hoping for the best for the rest of the day. I kind of repositioned things during the night move, during 16, just to make things a little bit more clearer. I try to put back units close to their corps commanders and reattach them properly. So the goal basically now is going to be to push from this side on the center and over here in order to get the 2 victory points that are left. Either one of them will pretty much seal the deal on this battle. There's a few units that did come in, which I wanted to mention. Specifically, I added Custer of the 3rd Cavalry Division on the Pleasanton Cavalry Corps Commander, so that gives them a little bit more power here. And if you're wondering, yes, it is that Custer, the famous Custer who would, at about a decade later, 12 years later, was going to have a kind of an encounter with American Indians somewhere in the plains of the United States. So that, yeah, it's definitely him. He was a very young general at that point. He had been made a general. I think he was 23, 24. Can't remember for sure, but he was very, very young. And he was in charge of the 3rd Cavalry Division here at Gettysburg. So that's pretty much what happened during the night. I decided not to really do any of the reorganization unit that you can do. There's no point. I mean, the battle will be over before anything can happen. The only time you really can do the organization, it's basically from July 1st to 2nd and from the night of July 2nd to 3rd. And that's pretty much, well, pretty much not that much, because on July 3rd, there's nothing you can do. So the only point where you can do this is in between these two here. So with that, we're going to start turn 17. There's very few units that are going to come in on July 3rd. There's about 4 units left to enter the fray. 3 for the Confederacy and 1 for the Union. They're all cavalry. They're all very low point units. They're not going to bring in a lot of things to this the battle now. What's left basically, 3rd Corps of the United States has been pretty much decimated. There's nothing left. 11th Corps of Howard, there's nothing left. The 12th Corps of Slocum, nothing left. 1st Corps of Reynolds is also been wiped out. There's nothing left. The 3rd Cavalry Division of Beaufort, they still have a unit. It's over here with Pleasanton, so I kind of combine them. Since it's a Cavalry Corps Commander, I can combine them here. Hopefully to give them a little bit more power with Custer. It's not much, but I mean, at this point we'll do what we can. And with that, we're going to start turn 17. We're going to move first. Most of these are already set up here for the attack, but we're going to move a few units here. So we're going to first move Alexander back over here, keep it close to the 1st Corps Commander Longstreet. We're going to move Stewart over here in preparation for an attack that's going to take place over here. I'm just going to move Division of Hampton and Peckham over here. We're going to move Ewell and his powerful stack over here, and we're going to try to move our way out, and just to keep things on the up and up, we're going to actually bring this artillery here in order to make a cover for it. And we're going to bring Lee toward the other side here. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can barely make it 6, 7. Not much we can do with it with one hit, but hopefully that's going to be enough to cover everything. So the attacks now, we're going to start up here. I'm going to attack Fitzpatrick, and that's my other big stack up here. So that's 6 points for 1 on the defense. They get a 2 because they're in the forest and they're in the wheat field, but there's forest there considered. So that's going to be 6 against 1, so it plus 2 plus 1, so that's 6 against 2. We're going to roll the dice, and it's going to be a total of 8 for 14 for the Confederacy, and a total of 6 for 7 for the Union. And again, that's another wipeout. Farnsworth, I believe, can only be moved twice. Yep, so we're going to remove him. That's another unit gone, and we're going to retreat Kilpatrick toward the Devil's Den. It's another win for Robert E. Lee, and we're going to be, oops, I'm going to be able to move this up here, and we go. So we're going to be able to make more threats against this stack next. We're going to be using heat, even though he can't barely take a hit because he's going to get wiped out. But I think we're going to attack this artillery here, just in order to try to push it back, depending on how the dials are going to go. So it's a 3, but this one gets again another 1, so it's 3 against 2. Hopefully the dice will work pretty good. The Union gets a 3, so that's a 5, and the Confederacy gets an 11, so that's 6 more. So this artillery unit is also eliminated. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. Is like, there's no way I'm getting all these rolls with the Confederacy. I wish I wasn't, but that's really how things are going right now. It's just one of those games. Then we're going to use the AP Hill stack over here, which is 3, and we're going to attack this artillery here, which is just 2, but with the forest cover, so that's a 3. And we're going to add, so because it would be 3 against 3 at this point, but we're going to attack also with picket right over here. So that gives us a 7 against 3. And the Union gets a 5, so that gives them 8. The Confederacy, like I said, I'm not making this up, is getting a 10, so that gives them a 17. So that's, again, more than 6, so that's 2 flips. And now I'm not sure if any of these units can, both of them are eliminated. There's no flips on them. And so that we're just going to move our commander back here. And Pender will be able to move in this direction. There we go. Now, Pickett is already played, so we're not going to use him again. Now, the big stack is over here, which is the Longstreet stack. This is going to be a 7 for Sedgwick in the woods. So it's an 8, and Longstreet is an 11. So it's pretty close. And so 11 plus the 8, so that's not that much of a difference. Depending on how the die roll is going to go, it's going to be, and it's a bad one. The Union gets 10, and the Confederacy gets a 7. Well, we're going to see, so that's 11, so it's 18. That gives them a 418, so it's a tie. So at this point the defender would win, but that would mean that McClaw and Longstreet and the other one will have to retreat. So actually Longstreet is I've had a few of these a few times where he got lucky, didn't get any flips, but he had to retreat. So we're gonna have to bring him back up again. Now I'm going to stack up over here this cavalry stack over here, which is a 2. I'm going to add this one here, which is a 4, against this over here, which is also a 4, but they're in a forest, so that's going to be a 5. So it's going to be close, but at this point I'm trying to push it, and this is going to be, we're going to see how it goes. So that's 10. So that's how much can I say? 2 plus 2, that's 14. So that's going to give them 14. And this one here, I said was a 5, right? Yeah, plus the emerge, so an 8 will give them 13. So the Confederacy wins, but there's no flips. It's just a pushback on a retreat. So we're going to have to move Hancock and his division over here. That's the only place we got left. And we're going to move, no, we're going to leave it in place because we're going to fight with this score instead here. Now, the last place we can do a battle here is Custer and Gamble, which are a total of 4 because they're in the forest, against, we're going to stack up the numbers here. So this is going to be 11 plus 1, that's a 12. So that's 4 against 12, and we're going to try to push them back. Oh, so Confederacy gets a 14, and the gets a 10, so the Union gets a 10. It's a pushback, and it's going to be one flip, and we're going to flip Custer so that Gamble can still stay here, and Pleasanton will just have to retreat over here, and we're now one step closer to the final victory point. And that's the turn for the Confederacy on the 6 a.m. turn. It's now the turn of the Union, and like I said, there's not many places where I can attack, but I'm going to try to attack here. I got to get a kind of an important opportunity here to attack Pickett if I move things a little bit closer, and I also have a chance to attack this unit. So the moves that I'm going to do, I'm going to move Newton here, and I'll just use one attack here for Pickett, and I'm going to combine these two against Stewart here, and that should kind of slow down the Confederacy for a bit, even though Longstreet will probably be able to come back real quickly here. So the attack on Pickett is a 7 versus a 4, so 7 plus 4. That's a very good roll for the Union. So that's a total of 15 for the Union and only 1 for the Confederacy. That is, ooh, that's going to hurt because that's more than, and Pickett has just been wiped out the board. So there we go, finally another unit from the Confederacy that's been eliminated from this game. I'm not going to move him up. I'm just going to leave him there because the point is defending the little round top victory point here. Now over here, I got a total of 6 for these 2 units against a total of 2 for Stewart on this. So that's a good attack point here for the American. 6 against 2. The Union gets a total of 13, and the Confederacy gets a total of 7. So yikes, that's another big loss for the Confederacy. It's 2 flips and a retreat, and we're just going to retreat over here. At least the units are not eliminated, but it's very close. It was very, very close. And over here, I do not have enough. There's no way I can attack here. This is just going to be I would have to be very, very lucky to, well, I mean, I did get lucky, but the points were very close. So I'm not going to attack here for now. I'm just going to leave it there. And so turn 17 is complete. We move down to turn 18. Now, I'm going to check to see if there's any units we need to move. Up north, right over here, well, not up north, but on the north part of the map, things are pretty much ready for an attack. there's this is the big stack that needs to be taken care of, but over here I think we're fine. We should be able to make an attack. Maybe I can swing the cavalry though on this side and try to see if I can it's a movement of 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll have to stop here. That should be okay for now. And over here, we're going to bring back Longstreet and his stack and push over here. And that's because I want to take care of the Sedgwick stack here, which is close to being a big problem. Now I need to find a way to get Newton out of the way at least. So if I can get one guy out, that I'm going to move this artillery here so that I can try to combine and get an attack here. So that's going to remove one threat. This is pretty much close to defeat, but we're going to move them over here and try to see if we can let A's do something with it, or maybe we can attack, we'll see. Or maybe support early. We'll just leave it like that for now. We're going to move the artillery closer and the cavalry closer. All right, so this is it. We're getting close here. Anderson, which is 6 points, will attack this here, which is 2. But they're in the forest, so that's going to be a 3 total, so 6 against 3. Confederacy gets a 14, and the Union gets a 9. So it's 1 flip for the Union and a retreat. Now let's see if we got anything to flip here. I don't know if... Yeah, both of them can be flipped, so we're just going to flip Craig. Both of them are the same, so it doesn't really matter. And we're going to have to retreat to this spot over here. So now it's getting close to the big battle here. All right. AP Hill will attack. Yeah, we'll attack Robinston and try to push them back. So that's 3 against a total of 3, but they're in the woods, so they get a 4, so it's 3 versus 4, and good roll. So Union gets an 11, but the Confederacy gets a 13, so that's a push. No losses, but they get pushed out. And with every push, obviously, that brings them closer to the victory point. All right, so there we go. Now, the big battle here will be Longstreet is going to go against Sedgwick again. Last time it didn't go really well for them. That's 7 plus 1, so that's 8. And Longstreet still has his 11, so it's 8 against 11. And once again, Longstreet is just not having a good day. So that's a 12 for him. And let's see, 6. So we said 8, that's 14. So that's very close. Actually, one of them is going to have to take a flip. It's more than 3. I'm going to move McClaw, flip McClaw, and I'm going to retreat this way. Longstreet is really not having a good battle. It's been up and down for him. We're going to combine these 2 artillery. It's going to be a 4 against 4 and attack Newton. I'm going to see if we can push him back. No, so it's a total of 6 and 5. So the artillery will just move out. Stewart will not do anything. We'll just stay on the defensive for now. And Early will continue his push against Pleasanton here. And hopefully get this done. So they got a 3 for the Union and the total 11, of course, for... So the Confederacy gets 19 and the Union gets 11, but that's 2 flips. So this poor unit cavalry here is just being completely wiped out, and we're pretty much right there, close by to the final victory point at this point. And here we go. So now it's turn 18 for the Union. What can we do? Can we somehow save this? It's very little chance. I think by the next turn this is going to be pretty much over. It's going to move Tyler out of there. We're going to try to force them to attack a little bit here before making any move. And Sedgwick, well, they could probably attack AP Hill, but they're gonna get well chances. We have no choice. Well, I'm gonna attack this way, but I'm probably gonna end up being squeezed in between these two here. Newton will attack here, Hayes will attack here, and over here I'll just hope for the best. There's no way I can attack, but I'll just try it, because at this point it's pretty much over. So we're going to use how to attack the stack of AP Hill here. So that's a 7, and that's only a 3, but it's a 4 with the forest. So 7 versus 4, and pretty bad. They get an 8, but they get a 10. So that's 14, 8. They're gonna have to take a flip, and they're gonna have to retreat. So they're going to retreat this way. I tried, but it just doesn't work. I'm gonna try Newton against Dance and see if we can get there. So it's a 3 against 3. This one is definitely flipped. So he gets 9 versus 5. So Dance would have to flip, and he survives. He still has 1 shot. Okay, so there we go. We're not gonna move Newton. Hayes will try to push back this stack here. It's 3 versus 3. And this is a disaster. Gets a 5, but they get a 10, so it's 13. So Hayes is gone. Hampton doesn't move. And that's it for this turn. So I tried, but there's just not enough left to make any difference here. We move to turn 19. And 1 cavalry unit for the Confederacy comes in. It comes in all the way from here. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to move it here. So it's going to be 7. So we're going to move it over here. What else are we going to move? So McLaws and Longstreet will definitely move. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. We're going to move these 2 artillery here and try to see if we can finish off Newton, prevent him from getting any points, as we're very close to victory here. Stewart will just push this way, and there's nothing left to move here. The victory point is over here, so it's a done deal. So we're just gonna go like this way. So we're just gonna move this here. Pleasanton is gone, and with that, it's a done deal. The victory point. So now you could continue until the end, but I won't. There's very little chance of the Union being able to achieve anything at this point. They're pretty much out of attack points, and there we have it. So this was a victory for the Confederacy. Something that can happen usually pretty well due to the difference in strength, and if you get very lucky on the die rolls. That's why I kept saying when I first started this game that the combat system is not perfect for this game. It's very, very strange. You can get result that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, but you go with it. It's a good game for introduction, or if somebody's never really played a war game. It's very quick and easy to teach, and you can play it. It took me a little bit of time because I was explaining things, but if you're just playing with someone one-on-one with nothing to do, you can play this in about 2 hours or so. So there you have it. It's a victory for the Confederacy. Union tried, but they could not survive the Battle of Gettysburg, unlike their real counterpart back in history. In this one, we change history. The Confederacy won, and who knows what could have happened. Maybe Washington and President Lincoln would have been forced to go for a peace settlement with the Confederacy, and the United States would have remained separate and probably have a very different history that we now have for them. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to stop here for this one. I'm going to come back for one more video tomorrow, sort of a wrap-up, explain what happened in the real battle, how things went, what was the total result of it, and that will be the end for this playthrough of Gettysburg. Hope you're enjoying it. I'm having fun with it. It's got a few mistakes here and there. Trying to rush things a little too much and didn't want to have these videos too long, so that was my fault. And I'm also learning I've only been making these videos for a little while. I can only get better and more experience as time goes by and get more interesting. Hopefully you'll join me for more later on. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Especially if you're not a fan of war games, but you're interested in history. Like, I'm not a historian, but I will try to, as I play these games, give a little bit of insight on certain things. Nothing major, nothing in depth. I mean, I'm not going to make a university conference on this. I wouldn't be able to do it anyway. Certain things I know well, but I'm not going to claim that I'm an expert, far from it. But hopefully you should find that interesting. So thank you for watching, and until next time, stay safe, everyone.